All set.
All right, here we go. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us tonight. I am Jay Tetzloff. I'm the Director of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Arts for the City of Bloomington. We're extremely excited to talk to you about, let me try it again. We are extremely excited to talk to you about this project tonight. We wish that we could be together, but hopefully being virtual will allow more people to attend. So you know, this session is being recorded and will be available online after tonight. In the time we have, it would be impossible to unmute all of you, so please feel free to ask questions and provide feedback in the Q&A box, most likely at the bottom of your screen. We'll try to answer some of the questions before the end of this meeting, depending on time. But we wanted to start with some of the background to this project so everyone knows where we've been en route to a better future for the west side of Bloomington and the entire community. This park is located on the west side of Bloomington and has White Oak Road bordering the west boundary of the park. And although it's not our oldest park, you can see that this park's been around for over 100 years. The pool would have celebrated its 45th year in 2020, but with COVID restrictions, we chose to not open either of our pools this summer, which opened the door and we took advantage of and demolished the pool over the summer. This opportunity will save us time as we strive to look to open the pool in summer of 2022. I started my 6th year this year as the Director of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Arts Department. And the need to replace O'Neill Pool predates me as a director. This goes back a while. Staff have kept this pool operational well past the lifespan of the pool, you know, but duct tape and gum can only hold things together so long. Next slide, please. In 2017, a consultant firm was hired to complete a feasibility study on O'Neill Park, as well as the park's comprehensive master plan. You can find this master plan on bloomingtonparks.org. A public meeting made mostly of neighbors was held at Sheridan School. Concept plan that came from that feasibility study was the starting point for this design work we're talking about right now. One thing that I want to state early in our meeting tonight is the fact that the funds that are available now will only allow us to build a new pool, additional parking, and the skate park. The rest of this project is for future years. We want to know what the community wants and in what order. There'll be also amenities for the pool that we're talking about tonight that will be designed so we can add in future years as funding becomes available. So in essence, a lot of the things we're able to build later, but for the opening, it's the pool, parking, and skate park. Next slide, please. So as we looked at how do we start this project? So really was this project team that you're going to meet tonight. We sent out a request for proposals. We did a national search. We interviewed the top 3 firms. And after the end, we hired Williams Architects and their team that you'll see. And I believe this is possibly the best team in the Midwest, possibly the country. So we're thrilled to be able to work with these guys. I'm going to start and hand it over and introduce Andrew Caputo from Williams Architects. He's the project manager, and he is the one who is wrangling us to move this project forward. So with that, I'll hand it over to Andrew to go through the different amenities.
Thank you very much, Jay. Welcome, everyone, and good evening. Thanks for joining us for tonight's presentation. Excuse me, we're excited to be here. And we wanted to start off our presentation by showing you what the agenda is for tonight. And we're going to first talk a little bit about our team, just very briefly, and then we'll talk about the project schedule. Then we'll talk about the master plan. This is what we've been working on with Jay and the City of Bloomington staff recently. We'll show you the master plan concept drawing. And then we'll look at the amenities for the pool and the amenities for the park, show you some example photographs of different projects that we've designed that include those amenities and what you might expect for this new renovated facility. And then lastly, we'll talk about the community engagement process and look at any questions and answers that you might have. We'll have some time at the end. So first of all, just briefly regarding the team, we were retained by the City of Bloomington as the architect for this project. And to assist us with this master plan effort, we've engaged 3 consultants. We at Williams Architects specialize in parks and recreation and aquatic design. It's the majority of our portfolio over the last 30 years has been in that market sector. And we've employed a landscape architect, a civil engineer, and an aquatic engineer to assist us with the master plan. These are all experts in their fields: Hitchcock Design Group, Erickson Engineering Associates, and Councilman Hunsaker. We'll be employing additional consultants as we move into the design and bid document phases. All right, let's talk about the project schedule. We can divide the project schedule into 4 major categories. So the first is the design phase. That's the phase we're in now. We're just finishing the master plan and community engagement process. The design phase includes the preparation of the bid documents. So we'll be creating drawings and specifications and getting those ready to be submitted for permit review and for bidding. And we'll be needing time to do that through the course of the remaining winter and into the spring. And we expect to finish that up at the beginning of summer, June 2021. So the next phase is called the bidding and negotiation phase. That process will happen during the summer, July through August of 2021. During that phase, general contractors and other subcontractors that might be interested in bidding and building this facility will be reviewing the bid documents, the drawings and specifications, and they'll be submitting quotes and proposals to the City of Bloomington for review and consideration. During this time, we'll also be submitting for permit to relevant permit authorities, including IDPH. After bids are received and the project is awarded, construction will start in September, and that will extend through the winter and into the spring of 2022. And the goal is to open the new pool and the new skate park on Memorial Day of 2022. All right, the master plan. So this first drawing shows an overall aerial of O'Neill Park. And we know because it's a large park, the detail on the drawing might be difficult to see of this first screen here, but don't worry, as we go through our presentation, we have enlarged views of the areas to show you so we can discuss more detail as we go along. But this first overall view gives you a good idea of the current extent of the park, and it shows you the areas that we're looking at improving. So the amenities considered for this project include the pool and the bathhouse, the skate park, the splash pad, and the renovated and expanding parking lot. The amenities for the future, as funding becomes available, include a dog park, batting cages, family shelter, additional shelters, athletic fields, including pickleball, tennis courts, and basketball, and a nature adventure playground. The 3 existing elements in the park that will remain are the existing baseball, softball, and playground. We'll just move to the next slide here. Whoops. So the pool zone is the first area that we'd like to take a closer look at. And so this enlarged plan view shows you our master plan drawing zoomed into the pool zone. And we have determined, working with City of Bloomington staff, that the ideal location for the new pool will be just basically in the same location, but a little larger footprint where the existing pool was located. So this is the southwest corner of the park. And on this drawing, we have elements labeled. They're keyed with letters, and you could see our legend off to the left. And I'll explain each one of those elements, and then we're going to look at some photos in further detail to show you what you might expect in the new facility. So to approach the new pool zone, we'll have some entry plazas with specialty paving areas. Those are marked item H on the drawing. The existing parking lot here that you could see at the bottom right of your screen will be expanded, and there'll be a connecting path between this H entry point and the H entry point to the north, connecting the north parking lot. So this will be a way to park and access the new pool. And you could see the entry plaza here, which is this large circle in front of this element labeled M. And M is the new bathhouse. And for those of you that may not be aware of a bathhouse, the bathhouse is the heart of the pool zone, which controls admissions. It is your check-in to enter the pool zone. The bathhouse also includes all the washroom and locker room facilities. It includes concessions. It includes support facilities and a party room. The bathhouse is always situated so that you exit the bathhouse on the pool deck. So on this drawing, if you can see my cursor, you can see that you would move through the bathhouse from the entry plaza through the building and then exiting onto the pool deck. These dashed lines on the drawings represent something important, and they're underground utilities. And we have to design all of our park improvements keeping this space in mind, this easement. So that's why you see these dashed lines running on an angle on our drawing. They mean that we can't build any permanent structures like a building or a pool over top of the easement, but we can put pavement over top of the easement. And so you'll see these lines on the master plan and then know what that is. So as you exit the bathhouse onto the pool deck, you can see the new bodies of water planned for the new pool zone, which is labeled item number N. And the pool zone includes 4 major new pools. The first one is the activity pool. This will be the largest element. The activity pool will include a water depth of 0 to about 3.5 feet deep. The activity pool is the pool enjoyed by the widest cross section of ages, from toddlers all the way to seniors. And one of the primary considerations in designing a pool is always to place the most shallow water closest to the bathhouse. So as you exit the bathhouse, that will be the first pool that you see. This fan shape here will be the 0 depth entry. As you walk and wade into the water, it will get deeper as you extend south. If you can see my cursor, the activity pool will merge into a lazy river. The lazy river will have a current, and the current and the flow will be an enjoyable feature for all ages, and you will be able to ride the river with the flow, or certainly could work against the flow and walk or swim against the flow. The river will be about 8 feet wide and will be between 300 to 350 feet long. In the middle of the river is what we call an adventure island. It will have some development and some other amenities that we'll talk about later. To access the adventure island, you can do that from the river, or you can do that from the deck. If you can see in the bottom right-hand corner, this element here is a bridge, and this will be fully accessible. So you can access both the pool deck over the river and then onto the island. Another important pool that we've designed that's attached to the lazy river is the plunge pool. That's the rectangular element in the bottom left-hand corner here, southwest of the river. The plunge pool's depth varies based on the design and height of the water slides. But the main purpose of the plunge pool is to receive the water slides. You can see the water slides in the bottom right corner with the water slide tower in brown here with the steps. This will be a very tall element on the corner, about 20 or 30 feet high. This is the water slide structure. And you can see two body flume slides here with some loops that exit down into the plunge pool. It'll be about 3 or 3.5 feet deep, as I say, depending on the slide height. Then this long linear slide here is a run out slide, or sometimes called a speed slide. It's a little different than a body flume slide, creates a different ride experience. It's a lot faster and does not exit into a pool. It exits into a flow of water, but the slide continuously recirculates water and filters it as it's doing so. So that's another experience that will be a new amenity at the pool. I mentioned the parking lot. The south parking lot will be expanded to the east to increase its capacity. That's item O on the drawing. We'll have some new park signage at the corner, item Z. And one of the items that's not tagged, but just to mention to you, in the bottom right-hand corner of the pool zone is this red rectangular element. This is the filter building. The filter building includes all the mechanical equipment for the swimming pools. Lastly, before we move to the next slide, there's a very important element to touch on, and that is the spray park. That's item number L. You can see that in the middle of the drawing on your screen here, and that's the figure 8 shape. The spray park is located at a very important spot on the plan. It's adjacent to the pool zone so that it can be operated with the pool when the pool is open. However, when the pool is closed, the spray park can be open. It will have its own separate mechanical and filtration systems. So during the spring and fall, when the weather is a little bit cooler and the pools are still closed or have been closed, the spray park can be open and still available for the public to use. So the park can be accessed directly from the H entry plaza right into the spray park. And during those times, the inner gate would just be locked. So people using the spray park during the cooler seasons could enjoy it, but not be able to walk through onto the pool deck. So we'll look at some photos of some of the amenities in the pool zone. The first one we wanted to look at with you is the 25-yard lap pool. This is an important element. This is a similar lap pool that we designed to just show you what you might expect. The lap pool is a multi-purpose pool that can be used for all different events and ages. It can be used for recreation. It can be used for exercise. It can be used for health and wellness. Swim lessons. It's got a wide variety of functions and operations. One of the things that will be included with the lap pool that we've designed will be a deeper section of the pool that will accommodate diving. And so the water depth for the lap pool will be about 3 feet or 3 feet 6 down to a depth of about 13 feet. Diving boards. So at the deep end of the lap pool, we will include some 1 meter boards as part of the project, and the pool will be designed to accommodate a future 3 meter board. So all the depths and clearances required by IDPH and the state code will be complied with. So in the future, when funding permits, the addition of a 3 meter board would be a simple matter that could be done and added to the pool deck adjacent to or replacing one of the 1 meter boards. We're going to show you a couple different pictures of a zero depth entry in an activity pool. And as I mentioned earlier, this is a very important access element, especially for the youngest tots and toddlers using the pool that haven't learned to swim yet. And so the fan shape is very inviting, and the shallow water allows kids who are still uncomfortable getting into deeper water enjoy the pool and still being able to be supervised. This is another photo of a zero depth entry, except this one, instead of looking at the zero depth entry, we're looking from the entry into the activity pool. And this is a good image to show you because it shows a lot of the elements that we're planning to include. And we're going to talk about later as we go through the presentation. We've got some ground sprays in the front that you could see along the zero edge, some bubblers. We've got some a frog kiddie slide. There's shade elements both over the pool and along the pool deck. And you can see the water depth increasing as you get towards the center of the pool, and you can see some water play features in the middle of the water. Ground spray features are a fun element that we like to include in the design of activity pools. There's two types of ground spray features. There's those that are built into the side of the pool deck, like as shown on the left. And then the other type of ground spray features are the type that are actually built into the floor of the pool. And so those will provide different water experiences for children to engage into. The vertical water spray elements are in slightly deeper water as you move into the activity pool, and that depth increases a little bit. And we'll include some nice color elements. Sometimes they're themed, and they'll have different geysers, bubblers, dumpling buckets, and there's just many manufacturers and many types of these features that we'll be reviewing with city staff and including in the design of this project. They're fun elements, interactive elements. And one of the nice things about water spray features is over the years, the features can be, a lot of companies now make them modular. So in the future, sprays can be changed out provided they have similar flow rates, and they can be enhanced or added over time. The spray ground, we talked a little bit about the spray ground. These two images that we're showing you just are an example of a themed spray ground. And on the left and right, you could see the different natural imagery of the water toys. We've got some structures that look like trees and leaves. These are just ideas that we'll be exploring with city staff. Again, the spray ground is an important element. We'll be including spray ground features that will accommodate all different age ranges, from little tots all the way up to teenagers. In the activity pool will be a small play feature. This is a good example of one. The cost for small play features can be very extensive if they get very large and complicated. So we'll be working with city staff to design a play feature that's appropriate for the budget. But this is a good example to show you because it includes the type of elements that we'd like to include, and that would be a kiddie slide, a platform, some interactive water elements. You could see some wheels, some valves, some sprays and cannons. And these are just fun features to put in that shallow area of the activity pool. Accessible points of entry. This is an important aspect when designing a new swimming pool. We want to make sure that all persons, regardless of any disabilities, can access the pool. We'll have different ways to do that with the different types of pools. This image just shows you an example of one. This is a pool stair with a sloped entry ramp and handrail. There's other ways to provide accessible points of entry to the pool. They include pool lifts or transfer stations. Another example is to widen the pool stairs to create a much more inviting and usable point of entry into the pool. This is a nice example of a facility that we designed where we took that fan shape and incorporated the pool stair into that fan shape, which also functions as a bench. Water floatables. These are fun elements to include in the activity pool. Two examples are shown here. These types of elements provide a lot of interactive play value. The lazy river. On the left is an image showing the lazy river with some development in the island. This particular project has a tropical theme, and you could see the palms and the nautical rope along the lazy river. These are themes or possible imagery that we might consider with staff. This lazy river is about 8 feet wide in the photo. As you could see, the center section where it merges is wider, but you could see that it's about 8 feet wide beyond the photo, and you could see some kids enjoying the current. On the right, the current is turned off in this photo, but the interesting thing that we wanted to show you in this photo is the yellow squiggly water elements or sprays. So when you're riding the river, there are some interactive play elements that you can choose to go under and get wet. Also another fun element to include in the design. A vortex feature. So this circular element is planned for the center of the activity pool. And there are jets in the wall of the pool that are controlled by a pump, and they create this spinning whirlpool or vortex feature. This water depth is usually 2.5 to 3 feet deep. This photo is a good example because this shows the position of the feature just as it would be for the facility that we're planning here. You can see it's kind of in the middle of the pool, and the size of it is indicative of what we're looking at here as well. Kiddie water slides. These are features that we like to design in every pool. They can be themed if you'd like them to be. Kiddie water slides are usually provided in a depth of about 6 inches to 18 inches deep, depending on the slide and what ages that it's designed for. They add a lot of color and play value to the activity pool as well. Sometimes they're located actually in the water, and other times they're actually located on the edge of the deck. Water slides. So we'll show you a couple pictures of what we're thinking about for the design for the water slides. The photo on the left shows 2 different slide types with 2 different ride experiences. The blue slide is an open flume slide. The yellow slide is a closed slide flume slide. And then the right on the right is also an open flume slide, but just a different ride experience. The tower elements you could see are typically steel or concrete, and on this project we would also be including shade over top for the guards supervising the kids climbing so that they have some shade. These are photos of runout slides. I mentioned this earlier when we were looking at the overall site plan. And so the runout slide is a little different. Like I said before that, it does not exit into the plunge pool, but instead it is much higher speed and usually at a sharper angle and longer. So the ride experience is different. It's another unique element and amenity that we like to include. In this case, the initial budget may only permit 1 slide or 2 slides, but the project will include provisions for these future slides to be added later as funding permits. Wet deck. This is an element that we're planning for the lazy river island. So part of the island will be submerged and have bubblers and have about 6 inches deep of water. And you could see you could place some chase lounges in the water and enjoy that water depth. Bench seating, another feature to include in the activity pool. That's something that's usually built in along a pool wall or built in along the gutter. It provides the opportunity for rest and relaxation for parents and caretakers and guardians to relax and watch children play, or for kids to use them. Lastly, the last pool element that we'd like to show you an example of this evening is the bathhouse. So with this facility, we talked earlier about some of the primary functions of the bathhouse, and one of those, as shown on the left, is admissions. So this is a recent bathhouse that we designed for Geneseo, And it just shows the inviting nature of the entry to the bathhouse, the accessible check-in counter, and where you would gain admissions into the pool zone. On the right is the interior of the concessions area, an example concessions, and you can see the concessions window beyond to the pool deck. So this facility will include concessions for snacks and novelties and drinks that can be accessed by pool patrons. Lastly, the two photos that we're showing you are the two functional components of the bathhouse. On the left is a family changing room. Family changing rooms are single user washrooms that can be used by anyone. They typically include a shower, a wash fountain, and a water closet. To the right is a locker room example of a facility that we've designed that you can see. We'd like to design them with a nice open feel with durable materials that are long lasting, with nice quality floors, painted concrete block walls, quartz countertops, and materials again that are durable and long lasting. We want these spaces to be welcoming and inviting and be part of the customer service enjoyment. Okay, so let's move on from the pool and let's take a look at some of the other aspects of the park. So this is a enlarged plan view showing the right hand, or I should say the east side of the park, the section that is to the right or east of the parking lot, the expanded parking lot. The first element is item R. It's bolded because it's included in this project. And item O, the parking lot, as I mentioned, that's included in this project. So the other items, the other letters, they're not bolded because they're future, but they're planned. And as funding permits, they will be added. And you can see those elements here. Those include the pickleball courts, the tennis courts, basketball courts, the nature-based playground, and the trail. So let's take a look at some example skate parks and what you might expect for this skate park. The skate park is a very fun type of amenity to design. No two skate parks are the same. This first example shows you some prefabricated metal, different types of ramps and loops and parapets and angles. One of the things that is a primary design objective for the skate park is to have different areas available for different skill levels. So as kids are learning skateboarding, they can enjoy the park depending on their skill level. This is another view just looking a different direction of the same park. You can see some of the raised concrete elements in the middle of the park here and some of the curving ramps at the edges here and like I mentioned, in the middle. And here's two more photos. One thing that I'd like to call your attention to in particular on the right is the bowl in the far center. That's a concrete bowl. We're looking at including that in this particular structure as a fun element to have included. So you can see this, again, they're all different. This one includes some built-in bench seating and some steps, some guardrails, and some other elements for skateboarding. Now we'll show you some photos of the athletic fields and some of the courts that are planned. Pickleball, tennis courts, basketball courts, a nature-based playground that will be proposed next to the existing playground that will remain. These will include some natural log elements for interactive play. Trails. We'll be designing, as you saw on the overall plan, connector paths So the park will have a loop and have trails and connections between all of the various elements. The trails will be paved. They will either be asphalt, concrete, or decorative paving, or a combination of all three. And just enjoying the park and being outside is a big part of the park, and allowing that opportunity for walking, running, or exercise. The center of the park has some of the existing features that will remain, as I mentioned, that are shown here in blue. On the left, the existing baseball fields, one baseball, one softball field, and the existing playground, which is item number C off to the right. In between the existing ball fields is a new batting cage plan. That's item G here. Then we have a family picnic shelter, item I, that's across from the bathhouse, planned. And then item J is a rain garden that will include some natural plantings. Here's a photo of a batting cage and what the size would be of the type of cage that we're looking at. Here's an example family picnic shelter showing you about the size that we'd be looking at that would be able to accommodate a large group. And it would be a rustic shelter that would fit nicely into the park setting. The rain garden, as I mentioned, includes natural plantings and natural vegetation. It helps us comply with the stormwater detention requirements for the development of the park. And so this allows us to introduce plantings that are native to Illinois. The last park element that we'd like to take a look at with you is on the north side. And you can see the blown up aerial here is on the north, next to the north parking lot. And this includes the dog park, item D, the picnic area and shelter, item E, and then an entry gateway, item F. So the dog park is divided into 3 areas so that the turf can be rotated and the areas that are open can be rotated. And you can see that configuration here in the drawing. So we'll show you some photos. This is another dog park that has a central shelter with the dog park and the dog run beyond. This is a photo of a small picnic shelter that only accommodates a couple tables. As you could see with all the shelter photographs, they all tie together, have a matching roof, so they all fit nicely, comfortably within the park setting. Community engagement. Jay, I'll turn things back over to you.
All right, thanks, Andrew. And I'll remind everybody, you can ask questions, provide feedback in the Q&A button, and we'll try to answer some of those questions today. You know, we sent out the survey. We got about 1,000 responses back from the community, and you know, we had about 5 at the end. We asked for just additional comments, very open-ended. We received 518, so more than half decided to give us some type of feedback. So that's kind of the part on the right-hand side. We tried to grab a few and similar themes that we heard. But on the left-hand side, the comments, you know, it's things that we have talked about as a team. So it was good to hear. Family-friendly, inclusive, accessible, skate park, more parking, and dog park actually came up in the 2017 a public meeting that staff did not, that wasn't a staff one, that was actually from the neighbors. So it was great to get different feedback. Again, spray ground, splash pad, all those are things that we have considered and will continue to consider as we move forward. So if we go to the next slides, please. So, you know, we sent these out, you know, our outreach was pretty extensive. We dropped off about 100 surveys around O'Neill. So the neighborhood hopefully got, all saw those and had the ability to fill one out or go to the digital form like many of you did. And we did the staff did radio, we did media interviews, utilized the park's new facility, which is the Grossinger Motors Arena, that we manage that now. Email, social media, anything we could to get the word out about this survey, or tonight about this public session that we're doing right now. A lot of things we talked about: accessibility, inclusion, parking, all those came up, and all those are things that we're looking at. And it was good. We wanted to ask the question of, where do you live? And we are glad to see that 75% live in Bloomington and are from Bloomington, because, but we wanted to make sure, who else were we talking to? And here you can see 16% came from Normal. We wanted to make sure we were hearing from this community. And that was the whole point of this. So here you'll see, the walking path had a slight favorite than the dog park. But what you'll see there is there wasn't a true standout. Nothing was towering over the others. Like I said, walking path won, but it's close. When you look at the pool amenities piece, Lazy River, the flume slide, speed slide, slightly above the others, but really all of them are close, which is good. Makes it a little tougher on staff to try to pick through what we feel are the best things. We know we can't afford everything, or when it comes to the park amenities, like we said, we don't have funding for everything we've talked about tonight. So what's the first thing we put back, or bring in new the following year, or as just money becomes available? So those are all key points, and that's why we wanted to ask the neighborhood, the community, what are the amenities you want, so we know the priorities and where we want to go with these things. So it's important for us to hear, because we are not, as a staff, we are not building this for ourselves. We are building this for the community, and we're excited to do that. And I told the story last session. I'll tell it again. When I started here, John Kennedy was the parks director. John went on and took another job. During the time frame, we hired an interim parks director. Bobby Harakovich was her name. She had just retired from Champaign. And I'll tell you, one of the things I learned from her was that pools are public safety. And I'll admit, I hadn't thought of a pool that way before. But then she told the story of a family member of hers drowning, trying to save a little boy, if I remember right. So that hit home for me. Obviously hit home for her. She said that's why she got into the park and rec field. So this pool will provide public safety, and that's a key component to what we're trying to do here. Are we trying to make it more fun? Absolutely. Are we trying to make it more usable for everyone, all abilities, all ages? Absolutely. That is what we try to do on many of our amenities throughout the entire city, but it is a focus here. We believe this will spark and rejuvenate West Side, and O'Neill is definitely a part of the West Side, and that's a big part of what we want to do. We believe in equality across the entire city, and we're glad that we're able to hit this area, and it's going to be awesome when we're done. So with that, let me hand it over to Tom Rakestraw and see if we have any questions so far.
Thanks, Jay. And also thank you for everybody that's come to the session this evening. If we don't get to your question now, please feel free. We really do want to hear your input. Email us at parks@citybloom.org, and we'll be able to, thank you, Andrew. Yep, that's the email address. And for any other developments, feel free to follow us on social media for the developments of O'Neill Pool and Park. We've got a couple questions right out of the gate, Jay. Let me see. Very impressive proposal. Glad to see it's being done. Would strongly encourage additional funding to complete the future. Also, the same person asks about parking. If we could go, Andrew, if we could go back to that parking slide and just have a conversation about the parking there. This person asks if is adequate parking being provided for anticipated usage. Just so we can talk about that. Probably the accessibility as well for special needs and such for parking.
Okay. So yes, we have considered parking. Parking is part of this project. So you can see there under O, there's 3 sections of parking. So right now there's only 2. So the one on the left and the middle one are the only ones that are there right now. So we're adding, a third, 33% more parking to this side of the park closest to the pool. And we still have the parking on the north side of the park still. So we've added a whole new section on this side. In addition, I think you asked about ADA. So that is P there on your plan. So yes, we are planning, make sure we have enough ADA parking stalls. And that right now is the tentative plan of where they're going to go. Obviously, we are going to have them, but right now they're located at P. So we're making sure we are adding parking because we feel we probably will add some parking to or more people coming to this park. So we wanted to make sure we added plenty more parking for this park.
Great. Got a question about the lap pool. Can the lap pool, be covered for winter swimming?
So that hasn't come up in this project yet. I will tell you that we've been approached before for the old O'Neill pool or holiday pool of covering it for the wintertime. And that may come to pass again. That conversation may come up again, but right now is not part of the project.
Great. We've got another question about the splash pad. Is there a way to allow the splash pad area to be free while the pool is open and allow people who are using the pool to freely leave and re-enter with wristbands? I think we should keep it by parking lot for accessibility reasons and maybe move concessions closer so you could have the kids enjoy the splash pad while getting food and drinks. Would love to see a new 100% free feature for all and help sell the snacks that support the pool financially.
Well, we've had conversations about that. Right now, where we are landing is if the pool is open, the spray park is only for pool users. When the pool is closed, then the spray park is open to the public. We feel that if the spray park was open while the pool is open, it would cannibalize the pool. We do provide a free spray park in Miller Park, which is not very far away. And so we're aware of that, but we wanted to make sure that we don't cannibalize both sides if it was free during the day. The concessions piece was part of that. Right now the concession stand is part. They'll service the pool only. And that's more of a physical piece, much like the zoo did over the last year. If there's somebody out in the park who wants something to eat or drink, we'll let you into the pool, grab your food and drink, then go back out and enjoy the park. And so right now that the bathhouse, which is M there, is where the concession is. We want to make sure that that building does all the features it needs to do. And we need it to be strategically located. And, could it be closer to the concessions? I won't say no, or I'm sorry, to the spray park. I won't say no, we're early stages still. Could that be moved, looks like to the east? Sure, that is part of the process as we're going along. I'm sure we will, especially now, we will take a look at that aspect.
Great. We've just got a few more questions about the pool. I know we talked about this in last session. Somebody was asking, how much are you anticipating to charge for admission? It might be a little too early for that. I know our pool passes, which are good for O'Neill and Holiday, run $29 with an early discount purchase price of $25, but it might be a little too soon to talk about that. I know we touched on that in the 5 o'clock session. Jay, if you just want to maybe touch on that again.
Yeah, I think we're too early in the game to know what we're going to charge. I got asked last time if the swim passes would go up. I would say they probably will. If we kept the existing O'Neill and Holiday pools as we had, we probably would have to raise the price at some point. Minimum wage is going up every year. Our costs are going up every year. But we want to make sure it's affordable. That is a big thing. We saw that as one of the words, affordable. And so we will make sure that we're doing our best to keep it affordable.
Great. We've got a question about the dog park. What is the timeline on completing the dog park and how big will it be?
So we don't have a timeline for it. I'll just start with that. That is a feature that we hope to add in the future. Bloomington does not have a dog park right now, and it would be a nice feature to add. As Andrew kind of mentioned, we have 3 sections picked out. That's a big one for me. Everyone I talk to who does have a dog park says they're not big enough. And so that is something we have focused on, having a big enough dog park. But I truly believe that having a 3-sectioned dog park where we can have them in like A and B and let C rest, and then, you know, a determined time later, then you let B rest and you move the small dogs and big dog areas around so that you can allow the turf to rest and not have to throw mulch down throughout the entire place, actually give the dogs grass. So that's a focus for us. If the dog park comes out as a strong amenity, then it all comes down to funding. That is something that a lot of our staff can put in ourselves. And a lot of these projects are like pickleball courts. If you've been to Rolling Brook, you'll see our staff put in 9 pickleball courts this past year. And man, they were busy and utilized. That is a growing sport. So a lot of those things we can add later. It just comes down to funding and our time, staff time.
Thank you, Jay. We've just got a few more questions on the pools, and I'm just pulling 2 and combining them. Will the pool be able to be rented for private parties? And will the pool have swim lessons? And I believe that is a yes. We do have swim lessons in our holiday pool, and we would have them in O'Neill, and also rented for private parties. We do have a procedure in place for that. We have several facilities within the parks department for rentals, and feel free to call our main office at 309-434-2260, and they can explain Hike Haven and different other facilities, Miller Park Pavilion and stuff like that. There are some limitations due to COVID right now, but we do have those available for rentals. Lots of options. Feel free to go on to bloomingtonparks.org for all the details on our facilities that have rentals.
Yeah, and I would add to that, you know, are we going to, not only is the answer yes, the answer is absolutely to both on swimming lessons and renting out the pool space.
Got a comment here that sounds awesome. My main goal is the pool. As a direct neighbor of the park, I'm 100% in. Thanks so much. Thank you.
Cool. Glad to hear it. Thank you.
Apologize, we're getting a little lag here with the Zoom call. Somebody's asking about the hours of what are the hours of the future pool?
You know, I see us, we haven't gone to that extent. I would say we'll have very similar hours to what we had in O'Neill and what we have at Holiday Pool.
Another comment about the parking. Thank you for that. What is your anticipated maximum occupancy for the pool?
I don't know if Andrew can answer that one. I'd say it depends on what the finished product is, but I don't know if Andrew wants to weigh in on that one since he didn't get to answer any questions yet.
Thanks, Jay. Exactly. Yes. So I would say the possible maximum bather range for this facility would probably be around 750 bathers, but there's a range there that you know is possible. So when we get farther along in the design process, we'll discuss that with city staff and set that range appropriately. For this type of facility, it could be 750, could be 1,000, could be 500. But like I say, I mentioned the 750 number as just kind of a average.
Got one more question here. There are still a number of decisions to be made by staff. Will community be included with staff in making these decisions?
Say that one again, Tom.
There are still a number of decisions to be made by staff. Will community be included with staff in making these decisions?
So that's what the survey and what this is for, was to gauge what the community wanted. You know, to hit the Memorial Day 2022 date, we've got to really roll and roll fast. And so this is the feedback. Will we make a presentation to City Council as we move forward? It's probably likely, but at that point, we'll be looking for City Council's opinion and potentially their votes. So I would say that this is that feedback, and we're looking for more, but at some point soon, very soon, we have to take what we got and move forward with those different amenities and that design features. So yeah, I think we're getting close to the end of asking. Unfortunately, we need to move forward.
But we do encourage everybody to feel free on any park or any parks question, feel free to reach out to us at our main office at 309-434-2260. And also you can email us at parks@citybloom.org.
We got time for probably one more, Tom.
A question about the basketball courts. Is there a way to avoid the basketball court being removed until after a new one is at least funded, if not built, or is there in a way for underground utility work?
So I think it'd be very difficult. Right now, where the basketball courts are now is part of this first project, this first phase of the project. So I think that'd be very difficult to do. If basketball courts come out as one of the top things that we should put in first, you know, that is something that we have done, pouring the concrete and installing basketball hoops. That's something we can do ourselves. It just comes down to funding and our time. So again, it comes down to what's the community telling us and what's the first priority. In the survey, it came out as trail. So making a walking path around the park. But you know, we're not done yet. We're still, you know, we're asking tonight for that feedback. So if basketball courts start to win out, then maybe that's the first thing we put back in. All right, so we're coming up on an hour, and probably need to come and bring this session to a close. And as we've said, this information will be available after tonight, and you can go to our website to find that. But you know, we're very thankful that you decided to take time out of your day to attend this tonight and give us some feedback. We promise to build the best pool and park for our community. And again, if you have any additional feedback, please send them to parks@cityblm.org. You know, we are super excited about this project and thrilled of where this can go and how this can revitalize the west side of Bloomington and the O'Neill neighborhood. But before we sign off, I think I'd be remiss if I didn't say that we hire hundreds of seasonal employees every single year, all across our department, including at Holiday Pool. So please keep an eye out for jobs that will be posted soon. You can go to cityblm.org and find those jobs posted in the next few months. And so an opportunity for people to get out, get work, maybe have their first job, you never know. But we're always asking. But when it comes back to this project, we're very happy and thankful you guys sat in and provide some feedback. Again, please let us know if you have more. But you know, we are excited about this project going forward, and we just can't wait to see where this goes, and excited to truly rejuvenate west side of Bloomington. And we really appreciate you coming tonight, and we will talk to you soon. We're excited. Thank you so much.